Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Last Cloudia stream. My first stream with this new microphone. Hopefully I have sorted out the sound this time better than last time. It is a bit weird, I'll be honest, not having a headset on. It is a bit strange, but it's fine. We have a lot of stuff to do today. So, as you know, new collab started today. This is what we've been waiting for. Yes, it is. Brave Frontier collab starting today. Got a lot of stuff to do. Of course, the main thing we're going to be doing today, having a look at both of these new units. Now, most exciting thing I think is the first unit is a free unit. Everyone can just get this unit in the event, which is great. You may be thinking, is he a bad unit? Well, I will go over his kit and I'll try him out later on. But he is actually quite a good free unit, honestly. It is a great free unit to get, honestly. I'm honest, so there's a lot of time I said honest at the same time. Anyway, we're going to start this off today by having a look at everything in the news like we always do. If you want me to adjust the sound or anything, then I can do that, because it should be alright, but I don't know. And we'll have a look at both units today. The arc, there is going to be part 2 next week on Thursday, which is going to have the third unit in this collab. I have no idea what he's going to do. I don't know much about Brave Frontier in general, because I never really played it, if I'm honest. I tried it. It was not really my type of thing. It was a very old game, so I didn't get into it early. But let's have a look, first of all, everything in the news that's going on today. So, maintenance just finished a few hours ago. I have been doing some of the event. Obviously the main point of today's update is going to be the Brave Frontier collab itself, which I'll have a look at in a moment. We've got Vargas and Tilith, which are the 2 units today. I might want to turn this down, I'm not sure. Maybe? Is that down? That's up, that's the wrong way. And then we've got a limited arc. We'll have a look at both these units later, and the arc as well. I think I plan to focus more on Tilith first of all, and then I will focus on Vargas later on, and it might be structured a bit differently, but it'll be fine. And Cloud Trials Dark, of course, you haven't done that yet, that's coming back. They haven't added any flaws or anything to that. Step Gacha, this is a paid gacha, so you can mostly ignore this. I know a lot of players have been looking forward to this. So I would expect there to be a lot of newer players or returning players just joining this game today. Wouldn't surprise me. Shop updates, always get this. Most of these you can ignore, honestly. This one's pretty good. You get a Hyper Primal Crystone. Basically you get a unit to level 120 and unlock all of their skills. 300 paid crystals is pretty good, especially if you're a newer player and you're thinking of playing for a long time. Then this is quite a good one, just to max out a unit instantly. You don't need to, honestly. You never really need to anymore. But it's great for newer players, or players that may be short on materials at least. Most of the rest of these you can just ignore them. And some adjustments. So, Friend Gacha, you can now do it 100 times instead of 30. I wish it was more, because I still have millions of friend points. And yes, being able to do it 100 times instead of 30 is nice, but it would have been better if it was like using all of your friend points at the same time, or 1,000 or something, because I've got so many that it would still take a long time just to use them. Recommended button to the UI of the event map. Removed day of the week restrictions to daily quests, and some adjustments. Obviously, guild battles should be coming back. Now let's have a look at the collab itself. So this is going to be all the information about the collab. So obviously this started today. This is a 3-week collab, I think. I believe it's a 3-week collab. Some people, I was kind of expecting there to be like 4 units or something stupid, because it's a big collab. They could have done a lot with this. But there are 3 units in this collab. First one is free. The other 2 are going to be in banners. And obviously the arcs are only in banners. We don't have any information of arc yet, so that's going to have to wait until next week, which I'll definitely be covering that. And then we get this unit for free. You can get an Ultra Rainbow Crystone, which you can get the units level 100 if you want to use that. It's actually a great thing for newer players. You can instantly get this unit to level 100 and unlock all their ability pieces as well. It's quite nice to get for free for sure. Because if you're just, this is like a great time to just start getting into the game, honestly, because you get quite a strong unit for free, and you can also get this material to get them instantly to level 100 for free and all their skills. So it's a great time to join the game right now, especially if you're looking forward to this collab. It's a great time, it really is. I am kind of considering making just a very small video of doing a quick, you know, a quick reroll guide video for anyone that's planning to join in this collab. I'm considering it like today or tomorrow or something, but we'll see if that happens. I don't want to ever guarantee anything because sometimes I change my mind, but maybe. And there is a collab event story, which is always great to have more story in this game. It's not the best, I'll be honest. There are better story games that exist, of course, but it's still a nice event, I suppose, and it's nice to have some sort of story instead of nothing at all. It's just more content, I suppose, if you care about it, or you can just skip it, up to you. But if you like Brave Frontier, then I would recommend to see it, just because, you know, it'd probably be interesting to you, I think. And we can get a bunch of gacha spins, of course, and event collab equipment and stamps and stuff, which is always great. The great thing is, because the unit Vargas is free, we can also get his paid equipment for free. So he has one paid weapon. I still call it a paid weapon because that's basically what they're called in this game, just equipment that can only be used on that unit. But it's free, so even though I call it a paid weapon, it is still free, and you get that weapon in the event, and then you can God Forge it, and I definitely recommend to do that, to max this weapon out for sure, because even if you're a veteran player, I feel like he's going to be a useful unit to use in some places, like maybe raid bosses against god-type enemies, and maze and stuff like that could be useful. But we'll get more into that when we go over his kit later on. And there's also skins. These free skins is basically get one skin for each unit for free, which is great. Getting free skins, we don't see that very often. We haven't had free skins in quite a while. They don't come around that often, so it's nice to see free skins. They're just different colours. That's all it is in this game, but some of them look pretty good, so can't complain about that. And then the event itself, of course, unit test, play quest, damage rankings. Now, here's something I want to point out real quick that's hilarious to me. The thing that's so funny is the fact that Tilith, right, is a support unit which does no damage because she's a support unit with no damage in her kit, and she has a unit damage rankings right here starting on the 3rd of July. So why and how are you going to make her do damage when she's a support unit? Like, if you think of Spirit Maiden Sarah, or Labref, her base form, or Spirit Maiden Theria, or some support unit like Renna, or someone that does no damage in the kit, how are you going to give them a damage ranking? How are they going to do damage? How? And what I also think will be funny is people are going to see the damage rankings of Tilith and then be like, look at those low damage numbers, this is a bad unit. If people do that, they are just retarded. I'm gonna have to say that, because that's not even it's not even a good, it's a stupid thing to say, right? Why would you think that? Only idiots would think that, unless they did no idea what the unit kit does, right? So it's just really funny to me that she has the damage ranking, and if it's literally just her doing the damage, how's it gonna work? It's not going to work. She's got nothing in a kit, which we'll look at soon, but it's still just... Why? I'm not going to complain, I'm just questioning why. I'm not complaining because it's still free crystals, yeah, but it's just strange. You can just see the lowest numbers ever. But okay. And there are some event equipments. So there are a few equipments in the event which you can level up, so make sure to do that. And obviously you've got paid equipments for the units as well, which we'll have a look at those later on. For Tilith, And of course you've got collab challenges, you can get some stuff in there, and login bonus like always. Part 2 is going to be in a week from now on Thursday. One thing that's great, another thing that's great, is video ad rewards are now boosted right now. So, well, not right now, but once the daily reset happens later on today, they're going to be boosted, so you get more crystals, and you can do up to 5 times, and the video ads for the gacha, you can do that up to 3 times as well. And it also has Descent of Heroes units in there too, up to Shift Kaine, so that's pretty great. You could get some good stuff from that. It's definitely recommended to do these, even if you just can't be bothered to watch the ads. If you're free to play, or just any player, make sure to do them, even if you can't be bothered, because it is going to be worth it. Well, here's the thing, right, that I don't understand, is they have left healers out of damage rankings all the time up until now. That is why I'm confused, because we have never gotten a damage ranking for Spirit Maiden Sarah, or Rena, or the base form of Labref, or anyone like that. We never had one up until now, which is why I think it's a bit weird. And I don't think it really makes sense. How are people gonna... I'm gonna stop questioning at this point, because I won't get an answer, and I still won't understand why. But, oh well. It's still funny. It's stupid. But, whatever. So, training promos, of course. Gachas, yeah, there's gonna be a few gachas going on. Welcome to everyone joining, by the way. So, obviously you got part 1 gacha, you've got Tilith in this banner. We'll have a look at this banner after I've talked about everything in the news, which we're almost done here. Obviously got part 1 gacha, ticket gacha, all that stuff, step gacha as well. The same thing with part 2. Don't have any information on this yet. Gonna have to wait until next week for this one. Free gacha, this one's quite nice. So, there's actually going to be 3 different free gachas going on. There's going to be... Basically, they're just the free gachas that they've been giving for quite a while now, but you can also get a Vargas Prism on step 5. So each one has 5 steps, total of 150 pulls, and you can get a Vargas Prism on the final spin. So just make sure you log in daily. Yeah, hopefully the mic is fine. I've adjusted the volume to hopefully be the right volume. It's kind of difficult to adjust it, really. But it should be fine now, and it's definitely a lot better quality than the last one I was using. Because what I was using wasn't even a microphone, it was just a headset, which had a built-in microphone, and it was crap. It was a good headset, but has crap microphone, so I'm like, okay... Because I was starting to get issues with the crackling sounds, I need to actually get a proper one for once. So, it's not a super expensive one, but it is still a massive improvement, and I kind of needed it, especially if doing stuff like this. It's great. So, let's hope we don't get any problems with that. So, here's some other things in the shop, by the way. These are only paid bundles, but they're still... Yeah, great joke. Everyone's gonna have to pity him for sure. This one's pretty good because it's 300 paid crystals, you get 3 tickets from it. It's nothing crazy. Also, they are bringing back the paid bundles in the shop where you can get the new arc guaranteed for 7,700 paid crystals. It's a good deal for paid players, for people that like to spend, but for free-to-play players... Yeah, it kind of sucks because you can't just buy it with free crystals, you have to pull it, but it's a good option for people like me that are willing to spend for it, as long as it's got enough value on the arc, which we'll look at very soon. And the same thing for part 2 is going to be next week as well. And that's everything in the update, which there's a good amount of things right now, mostly collab events, a few changes and stuff. One thing that's also quite important is there's an invite a friend promo going on right now, and this is kind of partly the reason why I want to do a quick reroll video soon, because of this invite a friend promo going on at the same time, which is perfect, just the perfect time for this, really. So what is this exactly? Well, let me just explain this quickly. Basically, they reset the invite friend promos, which means you can get more crystals from this now, and also they've increased the amount of crystals that you can get from this as well. I believe this is only a limited time thing, probably, or not. I don't know, but it's yeah, it explains it here. But basically, if I go to my friends screen and I show you the invite perk lists, they reset this, so all of the veteran players or any player that already has an account can now get crystals from here, as long as newer players put in your friend code. And newer players that are just joining the game or just making a new account can also get even more crystals from this. This is now 6,000 crystals instead of 3,000, so you can get even more crystals as a new player, and you can also help out the more veteran players by inputting their friend code and giving them crystals as well. So I would appreciate it if anyone just joining put in my friend code, because then we can both get crystals that way. And I'm sure everyone else would also like their friend code being put in for free crystals, but that's gonna take a long time. Also, an alternative you could do, technically, if you want to get these crystals right here, you could just make alt accounts and continuously put in the friend code and get crystals that way. It would take a lot of time, but it is something you could do if you really wanted to. So yeah, that's everything in the news and everything I wanted to talk about for now. So now let's have a look at the gachas going on right now. There's not too many going on at the moment, but it's just part 1 at the moment. You've got Goddess Tilith, which we'll have a look at that really soon. This collab's going on for 3 weeks, which is pretty normal. You've still got Demon Gunner Jade's banner going on right now. Honestly, he's pretty good, but he's mostly a PvP unit. He can work in PvE as well. He's decent, and I kind of like him, and I did manage to get him from a single pull, which was great. So I have been using him a little bit, but he isn't a unit you need. He's just the kind of unit that is good, but you don't need it at all, and he's just a damage dealer, so you could easily skip him if you don't care about him, really. And I think the Brave Frontier collab units and arcs are going to be a lot more interesting for basically every single player, and have more value than Demon Gunner Jade, so it is recommended to skip his banner and pull for the collab banners instead. Especially part 1 is definitely going to be a good one. I can tell you that already. It's going to be great. These are only paid banners. This is only good for players that don't have many UR arcs, so I'm personally not going to do it because it's just I have too many UR arcs already. And then these preferred units that you don't have, I never care about these, because yeah, you're most likely going to get a useless unit from these, unless you're missing like everything. Even if you're missing everything, you're still probably more likely going to get a unit that you're never going to use, or not even a meta unit. Like, a lot of these are just kind of... Most of these in this banner are honestly pretty bad for today's standards. And the only good units in here are basically Ruto, Logzaeus. Everyone else, well, and Spirit Maiden Sarah, of course, I forgot she was in there, but yeah, these 3 are still meta units. The other units, though, not really. I mean, Kaine's, yeah, useful. That's pretty much it, though, isn't it? Yeah, so because they're paid crystals, you can just ignore these banners. Honestly, I'm going to be ignoring them because I don't think they're worth it. And then you've got ticket banners. The only ticket banner going on right now is the one for part 1. How good is Vargas? Well, He's a really good free unit, a really good unit for free. He's not going to be insane, but he is actually quite a good unit for free, I have to say. The fact that he's free is quite insane. He could have been in a banner, if I'm honest, because he's actually quite solid for current meta units standards. He's pretty good, but I will go over his kits later on. First of all, I am going to be looking at Tilith and focusing everything on part 1 first, and I will focus more on Vargas a bit later on. Getting anything with tickets is great. So now let's have a look at part 1 in here. So, Goddess Tilith is the first unit in part 1. She is the first banner unit that we have available right now. She is a god type unit. I don't know anything about these units, by the way. What I mean by that is I don't know much about Brave Frontier. I have seen these units' kits, so I do have a slight idea of what they do already. Yeah, so Goddess Tilith, she is going to be the support unit, but one thing that I am just noticing is her ailment resistances are very bad. Why? Why did you do this, Adis? Why? Why? I shouldn't whisper in your ear like that, because that's going to be weird. Anyway, why are the ailment resistances so bad? Why doesn't she have any silence resistance, or stun resistance, or illness resistance? And why is she only weak to things? Dragon Ball Legends, I never played it. So, her stats, pretty basic for a support unit. She's not going to be doing any damage, and I'm gonna keep saying that. The fact that she doesn't do damage, and that she has a damage rank, and I'm gonna keep bringing that up because it's just such a stupid. Anyway, so attribute resistance -20 to dark, everything else is fine. +40 to light, pretty good. I think she's more of a PvE unit. For PvP, she's not going to be replacing Spirit Vein of Serra, and basically everyone's going to be comparing this unit to Spirit Vein of Serra, because Spirit Vein of Serra is still the best unit in the game, the best support in the game, so people are going to be comparing these two units for sure. So now let's start having a look at her skills, which are quite interesting. They do have some good effects on here, which is expected for a support unit, of course. So her skill 1, first of all of these skills, hit counts don't matter because she's not a damage dealer. Okay, so I'm not going to cover the animations or hit counts or anything like that because they don't matter, just the effects of the skills themselves. So skill 1 is a wide area light combo attack around the units. We've seen that on most support units, honestly. They have a skill 1 or a skill that pushes back units, and it's pretty useful for that effect by itself. This also gives all allies a damage taken from bosses -35% buff, which is good. It's some damage mitigation, right? And it's a buff that can give to all allies. And it's not just allies around this unit or anything, it's all allies. Giving all allies this buff is quite useful, if I'm honest. But it's only damage taken from bosses, so this won't do anything in PvP at all. But it's still a very nice buff and a very nice skill just for this buff effect alone to all of your allies. I'm hoping the duration of this buff is a normal 40 seconds, because if it's like 10 seconds and they want you to spam it, there's like the same with all of her other skills. If the duration of the buffs are not very long, then it's going to kind of suck. But if it's a normal 40 seconds or more, then it's going to be great for sure. Then you just need to use the skill once, and you have that buff for 40 seconds or longer. That could be great. It's going to be great. So skill 2 is an all enemy light combo attack. This might make you worried, but don't worry. She's not a damage dealer. It won't do damage. The fact that it hits all enemies doesn't matter, because she's not going to hit any meaningful damage anyways in PvP. So just don't worry about it. It's just like an effect that doesn't matter, really. So the biggest thing about this skill though, restore medium HP to all allies, and it also gives a damage cap to bosses plus 20,000 buff. So this should give a damage cap to bosses buff to all allies, and it also restores HP, which is quite a strong skill if I'm honest. 20,000 damage cap 2 bosses to all allies. That's great. You know why? Because this is all damage cap against bosses, so any form of damage cap, could be magic damage or physical damage, special damage, any form of damage is going to get 20,000 damage cap. So if you're a dual wield damage dealer, you're going to get 20,000 damage cap. So units like Shift Arc is going to be great for those units that have double hits and stuff like that, dual wield units, or like Shift Lenius or someone, even Yuda. Like any unit can benefit from this, which is the great thing with this damage cap buff against bosses. So I do really like it. I just wish it was like, if you compare it to Spirit Maiden Sarah, I don't quite remember how much damage cap she gives to the team in her kit. I think it was 10,000. It was either 10,000 or 20,000. I don't remember. But the thing with Sarah is she doesn't have to cast it. It's just continuous as long as she's alive. So that's kind of the difference, is this unit is forced to use the skill to give the damage cap buff, which is the only downside. But it isn't that much of a downside, honestly. It's just the difference, really. So skill 3, this one, honestly this one's quite similar to Spirit Maiden Sarah's skill 2, if I'm honest. It's a very similar effect, but it's on a skill 3 instead. So what does this do? Give all allies a restore SCT by 12 seconds after a set time effect, which is the exact same thing as what Spirit Maiden Sarah has on her skill 2. Just that restore SCT after a set time, so it gives all allies a buff, right? And then once the buff wears off, it gives them 12 seconds of SCT. So it's usually like a couple of seconds or something, and then it gives them SCT. So it's a great effect to have for restoring SCT. As you know, restoring SCT is super important in this game. It's the most important thing ever for PvE content. And especially if you're someone that doesn't have the best SCT skills like Honey Elixir or Glass Record or any of those skills, then effects like this that can restore your team's SCT is amazing and super valuable for sure. New magic spells, we'll see. So as well as that, there's also an extra effect right here. Removes 1 to 4 strength / defense / intelligence mind debuffs, and it's random, excluding some debuffs. So basically this can also remove a random amount of stat debuffs on your units, which most of the time won't matter, honestly, but if you get into certain situations where a boss inflicts like a very high strength debuff or something, which completely neuters your main damage dealer, your physical damage dealer or something, then this will come in handy for sure. And basically you're never going to have any stat debuffs on your allies as long as you remember to use this when you need to. So it's a pretty nice effect. It's nothing crazy. She doesn't have any debuffs like what Spirit Maiden Sarah has on her skill 3, is it gives basically all stat debuffs to enemies. But what Tilith can do instead of that is remove debuffs from your allies. So that's the biggest difference there. Getting anything from tickets. People getting so lucky from tickets today, it's crazy. There's always many people that mention that. It happens all the time, but great. Let's hope it happens here too. So her special next. This one is a very good special, I have to say. This is quite an interesting one, a more interesting special than Spirit Maiden Sarah's special, if I have to say. One of the better specials in the game. Let's see what it does. So, give all allies an auto-revive buff for 90 seconds. So you get a buff to auto-revive after 90 seconds. Guess what? You can continuously cast specials. Obviously you have to restore the special gauge and that stuff, but you can use things, broken arc skills like Great War of Ruin. If you have that maxed out, you can basically get 2 guaranteed specials from that if you put it on this unit. So yeah, that can be kind of crazy, giving an auto revive buff multiple times, like infinitely, as long as you have enough specials. It's quite an interesting idea. But here's an even better effect. Restore SET stock of all skills, 50% of max, and special gauge, plus 20%. I believe this should be to all allies, because it says give all allies a buff and then it's a comma. It's not a new sentence, so it should give all allies restoring 50% of their max skill stocks, SET, for all skills, and also give all allies 20% special gauge, which is insanely good for PvE content, which you can only use special in there anyway. But that effect, pretty damn good if I'm honest. But the thing is, the thing I'm worried about is how long is it going to take to charge her special? Because if they made her special gauge very big and more difficult to charge it, then that's going to be a downside. Because there are certain units, like the base form of Gorm, that can charge their special a lot quicker than other units. So that is going to matter a little bit, quite a bit. If it's her with Vargas, that would make sense, but they didn't say anything, so, and it just says Tilith damage ranking, and I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it would kind of make sense, but we'll see. So those are all of her skills, by the way. They're all pretty useful for a support unit. You got some good support buffs. Her special, quite insane, giving an auto revive buff and restoring SET and special gauge for all allies is going to be quite nuts, honestly, especially if you give her Great War of Ruin or any way to charge her special quicker. It's going to be quite nice, honestly. You can put in a Silver Society Linus in your team, because double hits do charge your special quicker. So Silver Society Linus is a good way of charging specials quicker than normal. So that's all of her skills. Hit counts and anything don't matter because she's just a support unit, but the effects are quite good. Now let's have a look at her traits next. So this gets even better, because it always does. So, trait 1, again, focusing on her special, right here already, at the start of the boss wave, special gauge 100%, which means she gets her entire special gauge filled at the start of the boss wave, so she can instantly use her special on a boss wave to give all allies SETs and special gauge and an auto revive buff instantly, which is great. That's very good. Awesome. We love that. She's going to be an amazing unit, I can already tell, for players that don't have SET skills. For players that do have SET skills though, still good, yeah, but not as valuable, I suppose. But I'm not going to jump to any conclusions yet. So, nullify anti-type effect from enemies. Honestly, that effect doesn't matter for this unit because she's mostly a PvE unit. As you can tell already, she's got bosses effects, damage taken from bosses, damage cap to bosses, stuff like that. And special gauge. All those effects are not used in PvP because you just can't use them there. So she's mostly a PvE only unit. Yeah, so maybe she's more of a... she does seem like more of a defensive unit than Sarah, probably. In PvE content. I'm not gonna... Let's not say anything yet. When revived, revive all incapacitated allies with 100% HP once per wave. Could come in handy if you're struggling, but ideally you don't want that to happen. You don't want this unit to die, you want her to be alive throughout the entire battle, so it's probably never going to happen. But technically it could work in PvP. That would be funny. But it's probably nothing crazy, honestly. Each wave, the first special used... yeah, this gets even better, by the way. So the first time you use a special each wave, special gauge is increased by 100%, and you fully restore all allies SET. I wonder if that means... I don't think it means All allies special gauge 100%. I think it just means her own special gauge is increased by 100%. I'm pretty sure. I haven't tried her out in the unit test play quest at all, so can't be sure on that, but it's probably her own special gauge is increased by 100% and restores all allies SET. Either way, it's going to be a very strong effect. Yeah, she's going to be great for newer players. She's like, getting Vargas and Tilith is like the perfect start right now. For newer players, it's actually an amazing start. You can push through the entire story content with just those 2 units, as long as you're not up against enemies that have hundreds of fire resistance, then you might be screwed, but as long as you use some other unit as well, then you're fine. So this first trait, quite a strong trait. Yes, it's mostly to do with her special gauge, but it's such a good trait, I'll be honest. It is just for PvE content, but it's such a good trait. It's a very good trait. Now let's have a look at her trait 2 next. So this is more about her healing. So we haven't seen anything to do with her, healing power or anything yet, just supportive effects, which are always great. Battle start, and every 40 seconds it gives all allies a damage taken from the most numerous enemy type minus 40% buff. We've seen this before. I think it was on Spirit Maiden Tharia had this effect as well. It's a very good effect because this buff, damage taken from the most numerous enemy types, we don't see that buff very often. It's a very rare buff to get, and you can't easily get it. It's not accessible apart from like Spirit Maiden and Tharia, and that's pretty much it. Maybe someone else, I don't know, but that's why it's such a good buff. 1 type per unit randomly chosen when equal. Yeah, it's only 1 type. So let's say you're against a bunch of god type enemies, then you'll take less damage from god types, stuff like that. So for units active skills, HP recovery plus 40% and HP recovery cap plus 8,000. So more healing is great. When restoring ally HP with skills or magic, give target a shield buff. Durability of 3,000. We've seen this before. Shield is always an amazing effect. If you don't know why, I'll just briefly explain it. Basically, a shield nullifies any form of flinch as long as you have the shield active, which is amazing for units that don't have nullify flinch in their base kit already, like super armor or immune to resistance, interruption when using skills, stuff like that. So this, if you just continuously keep spamming your magic spells, you can keep re-giving a shield every single time you heal. So it's going to be really good. And the fact that this is also going to apply to her skills, meaning her skill 2, restoring HP, means her skill 2 will also give the shield buff. So is it the highest durability skill we have? I think so. I think, wasn't it before 1,500 or something? I kind of want to check just to be sure. I know we've had Renna and Spirit Maiden Tharia, and the main one being Spirit Maiden Sarah. Let me just show you that. Yeah, this one gives a shield durability of 2,000. So it is 1,000 more durability, which may not sound like much, but it is a hell of a lot considering you're going to be continuously spamming your healing spells a lot of the time. So yeah, that's quite good. I'm definitely going to be pulling later on, not yet, but she's definitely worth pulling. Is she worth the pity though? I can't say yet. So yeah, that's her entire trait 2. Honestly, pretty good. Honestly, I shouldn't keep repeating myself. Anyway, is very good. Both of these traits are very good. Special gauge, giving all allies all SET, restoring her own special gauge. Revive effects, nullify anti-type effects, give all allies damage taken buff, take less damage, more HP from her healing spells, and the highest durability shield that we've got in the game. Very good. Yeah, I've heard from some players that they would have wanted a SCT skill in one of these limited arcs. There is a small chance it could be in part 2 banner arc, but don't get your hopes up. It's not very likely. It's most likely not going to happen, so don't expect it. Yeah, the UR step banner, just ignore it, honestly. Only worth considering it if it's only a paid banner, so only for people that are willing to spend that much, and if you are missing a bunch of your arcs. Otherwise, it's not worth it at all. So now let's have a look at her. That is an insane amount of... What? There's so many magic spells. Like, this is the first time I've seen this list right here. This is the most that we've seen on a support. I don't know, but this is a lot of spells. Let's have a look. So Ancient Heal, we've seen before. Most of these we've seen before, but Ancient Heal, I don't like it because it doesn't have a time stop effect. So I prefer God Heal more than this, honestly. Ether Heal, restore an ally's HP and heal stats ailments. I don't know if this one's a new one because I don't remember it, so it might be new, I don't know. Because it has the same icon as Ancient Heal, so your guess is as good as mine. Bad unit? Yeah, right. Anyone saying bad unit, get lost. You're wrong. There's no chance. I don't know if that's time stop, no idea. Starlight Heal, she should have had Stardust. I prefer Stardust because any time stop effect gonna be better. Yeah, if it's not new, then these three are probably just not that great, honestly. The new LRR, I'll look at that after we've looked at this. High Resurrection is always great. Grand Protection 2, by the way. These, Grand Protection 2 and Magic Castle 2, these are the same effects as High Protection and High Magic Barrier. So if the units in your team already have a continuous effect of those effects, of High Protection or High Magic Barrier, then these are not going to stack with those, and these won't do anything. And most units already have these effects in the kit, unfortunately, which makes these not as good as you may think. But for units that don't have them in the base kit, then yes, they are going to be useful, but most units already have them. Now, one thing that is new, that I don't think we've seen before, is Special Castle 2. This one's a new one, because I've never seen it up until now. Special damage taken by allies minus 35%. So you take 35% less special damage for all your allies. It's quite good against bosses that do a strong special attack, which there's quite a few bosses that do that. Even if Spirit Menacer is better, it's nice to have another support healer like this, and there may be certain situations where you would rather use this unit, you know. But I'll try comparing more of those two units a bit later on, I think. Yeah, for high difficulty boss fights that have a hard-hitting special, this is going to be great, because this is the first time we've had this effect. I wonder if we're going to start getting a special castle continuous effects. Like we have continuous high protection. What if we get the same thing but for special damage? Because we haven't seen that yet. Maybe that could happen soon. EX Brave, EX Fort, these are great. Especially since not every unit has EX Brave in their kit yet. So certain units that don't have EX Brave, if they have Grand Brave, then casting EX Brave on them is going to increase their strength by a bit more. By 15% extra. So it is going to be a nice magic spell to have for any unit that may not have EX Brave in their base kit. So that's quite nice. And basically every single old unit doesn't have it. This is more of a newer effect, a recent one, so it is a very nice one to have. Yeah, it's likely to happen eventually in the future. EX Fort though, not as useful honestly, because when do you want to increase your defense in PvE content? Like never, unless you're using a tank. I don't know. This one's not as good as EX Brave. I'm a fan of damage more than mitigation, so that's why I prefer this. But this is just, most of the game is do more damage, not take less damage. Most of the game is you want to do more damage, right? So, and if you're casting EX Fort on a squishy unit, or a unit that has low defense anyway, that's not going to do much by itself. Giga Vitality Phaser. All allies HP cap plus 5,000 and recover HP. This one's nice. I don't know if we've had this exact one before, I don't think so. Because it's Giga Vitality. I know we've had a high Vitality Phaser or something. We've had high Phaser before. But I don't think we've had Giga Vitality before. Well, this one is all allies, so this one could be nice. Also, now we get onto the final two magic spells. We are starting to get Wall 3 effects. I'm scared. I'm very scared. Because in PvP, these things could be quite nasty if they end up being on future units, where they're most likely going to be. Holy Wall 3. Damage, dark damage to all allies minus 50%, and the same thing for light damage. Quite insane if you ask me. This is only going to be useful in PvE content, because you have to cast it and get MP and all that stuff, but against bosses that do light or dark damage, it's going to be so good. I don't think we have Wall 3 effects. I think we definitely had Wall 2 effects, we had a lot of those, but I don't think we've had Wall 3 effects up until now. This is the first time I've seen Wall 3 effects, otherwise maybe it was a unit I don't have, I don't remember, but Wall 3 effects are back, or they're new. Very strong, that's all you got to know, they're very strong, especially if you stack them with the other effects. It's going to be quite a lot of mitigation, honestly. Yeah, if you like Tilith, do what you like. I still like to explain the kits, and for players that care about if they're good and whatever. Yeah, we might have this, I don't remember. But it's nothing crazy, but these are all nice ones. So that's all her magic spells. There's a lot here, but there's a lot of useful effects here. These are all just mitigation apart from EX Brave, which is probably the best one here, honestly. Well, the Wall 3 effects, yeah, these are all great. Let's have a look at her passive skills next. There's not going to be as many passive skills because she does have most of her skills as magic, so yeah, probably going to be less here. MP up max, magic defense up max, resolve up max, arcane up 1 and max, esoteric up 2 and max. Oh yeah, of course, you got all the max skills, of course, yeah, why not? A lot of MP and mind. Intelligence doesn't matter at all, but the rest of it is nice. Illusion, transfer evading, physical attacks, auto, Grand Matisse. Why don't you have auto EX Matisse? You should have. It's not needed, but it would have been nice to have anyway. Auto Ultra Advanced Circle, Auto Heal 2, which is great. That's going to be really good. Healing Giga Boost, Ale of Honor, Archangel's Blessing, recovering MP at the end of the battle. So, battles that have multiple waves, it's very good for that. Or like, the towers and stuff like that. It's going to be great for that. Beast Repellent, Robe Giga Boosts, Giant Shield 1 and 3. Damage taken from bosses minus 30%. She's going to have a lot of damage mitigation against bosses. Especially when you start adding in all of these effects right here. And the fact that she has this damage taken from bosses buff right here. And these giant shields are all passive effects, so they will stack with it. It's going to be quite nice. Celestial Raiments. Healing casting speed, transfer healing magic to deal criticals. Yeah, we've seen that before, it's a pretty good one. I think these are her unique skills right here, so let's have a look at those. Battlestar, give all allies a critical damage taken minus 30% buff. Kinda useless. This is probably the most useless thing in her kit, if I'm honest. Yeah, she'll be very tanky in PvE for sure. But critical damage taken buff is the most useless thing in this unit's kit. It's not... It is kind of bad, if I'm honest. Because in PvE, I don't think enemies in PvE can do critical damage, can they? I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure, because when do you ever see a critical hit? I can't tell. But critical damage taken is more for PvP, but she's a PvE unit, so that's why it's kind of useless. But as well as that, healing and support magic casting speed plus 50%. Okay, that's kind of overkill if you ask me. The fact that she has healing magic casting speed 50% and then another 50% means she has 100% casting speed, which is amazing, but I thought 80% was the maximum. I think the difference between 80% and 100% is basically nothing, isn't it? But the fact that this counts for your support magic casting speed as well is quite nice, and that is just healing. So she's basically going to instantly cast all of her healing magic spells all the time. It's great. It's going to be nice, for sure. Yeah, so she doesn't need any extra casting speed. I don't think she has the continuous casting speed effect. Whatever, recast, I don't think she has recast unless it's right here very soon. She doesn't need it, honestly. If she does, that'd be funny. Enemy attention drawn -1, damage taken -25%. Battle start, restore 1 stock for skill 3. Okay. Her skill 3 is the one that can restore all allies SCT, it gives a buff, and also remove debuffs. So, she gets 1 guaranteed at the start of the battle. Quite nice. Next one, battle start, and every 40 seconds, give all allies a fire, ice, earth, and thunder resistance plus 10 buff. Now, this is good, right? But it's not going to be anything insanely strong. It just gives you plus 10 resistance. But there's technically a little bit of mitigation. But the best thing about this, though, is the fact that if you're using a unit that has one of those resistances very high already, then it makes it a lot easier to get to 100 resistance, because now you have this, which is a plus 10 resistance buff to all of those attributes apart from light and dark for some reason. But it's still some slight mitigation, I suppose. It's a good one. And in PvP it would have been an insanely good effect, but the fact that she isn't a PvP unit, maybe she can work in PvP, but I don't see a reason why you would use this unit instead of Spirit Bane of Sarah, unless you're trying to use her and Tilith at the same time. And the last one here, basic stats, ailment resistance +2, sealed and rage resistance +1, so those are tier 2 status ailments. Rage resistance is good because we do have a base form of Lance Vale who can give rage at the start of the battle, so having some rage resistance is nice. Nullifies strength, defense, intelligence, and mind cut debuff from active skills as well. Very nice. Oh, I get it. I get it now. I see. I get it. So the reason why she has such terrible ailment resistance is because of this skill. Is because this skill exists. So now she has +2 basic stats ailment resistance. So all of these right here are going to be increased by +2, which means she has nil to these 4 are all nil, and these 2 are going to be resist. So now she actually has a lot of ailment resistance. It's just going to be something you have to remember when you're building this unit, and if you're worrying about ailment resistance, definitely remember that skill, otherwise you're going to be building for seeing nil right here and you don't actually need to, because she already has nil, because there's +2 resistance, but it doesn't actually show you right here. So yeah, it may confuse some people, but it is very good. And now these are the 6th enhanced skills. So let's see what's here. Mostly mitigation, I suppose. So more healing, recovery cap, take less physical damage and magic damage by 20%. Buff duration, which is great. So all of her buffs in her kit are going to get 20% extra duration. So like her damage cap to bosses and damage taken from bosses effect, for instance, is going to get 20% more duration. Any of these buffs are going to get 20% more duration as well. So very good to have more buff duration on this unit for sure. Rogue Mastery, more mind, take less damage, nothing crazy. Take less damage from bosses and more defense and mind. So basically this entire unit's kit does look very good to me, for sure. She's going to be an amazing unit. But when you're comparing her to Spirit Maiden Sarah, I don't consider Tilith to be much of an upgrade, or she's not going to replace Spirit Maiden Sarah, right? And that is the main reason why I don't consider this unit to be a must pull, because she's not a game changing unit like Spirit Maiden Sarah was. And what I mean by that is the fact that when Spirit Maiden Sarah released, there was absolutely nothing that can compare to it at that time. So Tilith does have some competition, which is Spirit Maiden Sarah, which basically everyone should have already. I'm not saying Tilith's bad, it's just if you already have Spirit Maiden Sarah, does she provide enough value? I would say 100% she does provide enough value, but is it worth pitying this unit? I can't be sure, if I'm honest, because I'm really gonna have to like compare every single effect from both units. But Lena is still the better SCT unit. Spirit Maiden Sarah can also work in every content, and she's the best support for PvP as well, while Tilith isn't going to be as good in PvP. So Tilith does have probably less account value, but she is a collab unit, right? Yeah, she's more like a Spirit Maiden Tharia, I suppose. I do want to talk more about this unit later on, but my initial thoughts are definitely she's going to be a great unit for sure. She's more focusing on mitigation though, but the best thing in her entire kit is her special. Giving allies special gauge SCT is the most important thing that she has. The best thing she has in her kit: restoring all allies SCT, giving all allies a damage cap to bosses buff and damage taken from bosses buff, and restoring SCT and removing debuffs. She's going to be an amazing unit that's going to last a very long time. So she's going to be an amazing unit, one of the best units, but she's not going to replace Spirit Maiden Sarah. So let me just go back and show you Spirit Maiden Sarah, compare a few effects, and then I'll go and start talking about the arc next. So I do consider, I think Tilith's skills are better, probably. This is only 7 seconds, Tilith has it on skill 3, but it's 12 seconds instead, and also removes random debuffs. She can't inflict debuffs like Spirit Maiden Sarah has, but honestly that doesn't really matter too much, because you're going to be using other units for debuffs anyways. And a minus 20% debuff isn't that good anyway. Tilith 100% has the better special and the better skills than Sarah, that's for sure, but Spirit Maiden Sarah has, you know, the damage taken buff, and this insane minus 50% damage dealt debuff to enemies that use a skill or attack. There's a chance, but it's a very high chance, like 80% or 50%, I think it's 50% chance of this. So Technically, Spirit Maiden and Sarah can potentially give more mitigation because of that damage taken dealt debuff, plus all allies damage taken minus 40%. SCT recovery speed never really matter too much. Yeah, this effect boosts all allies HP cap by 5000. That is the same effect as the Giga Vitality Phaser skill that Tilith has. That's the exact same thing, which is interesting to know. And obviously you've got... Yeah, here's something that Sarah has that Tilith doesn't. When restoring ally HP with a skill or magic, randomly heal a basic stats ailment. Obviously can't do it when the unit has illness, but still, the fact that Sarah can just heal and remove, like stun for instance, is very strong. Quite useful because you don't have to remove it. You can just keep casting magic, healing spells, and it will remove it, which is amazing. Also, Spirit Maiden Sarah has more offensive buffs than Tilith does, by giving all allies 35% physical and magic damage and special damage, 8000 damage cap, and 10,000 anti-type damage cap. If you have her paid staff, I believe it gives 2000 more damage cap, and it also gives all allies physical and magic attacks and special and anti-god type effects. So that's just kind of the effects I wanted to bring up to compare those two units, and I do still consider Spirit Maiden Sarah to be the better unit in most cases. Especially in PvP, she's going to be better. But Tilith does have her situations where she can potentially be better. Both of these units can provide 20,000 damage cap if you have Spirit Maiden Sarah's paid weapon. They both provide 20,000 damage cap, but Tilith has to use her skill too to provide that damage cap bonus. And Tilith doesn't give any damage or God Slayer like Spirit Maiden Sarah has, so Sarah probably is more offensive than Tilith is. Tilith is more mitigation with her magic spells, so but she does provide SCT, so there's benefits, and there's good and bad things about this unit, right? Spirit Maiden Sarah can do some things that Tilith can't, and the other way around as well. So I think they both have their advantages, and Tilith is a unit worth having for sure. Is she worth the pity if you already have a Spirit Maiden Sarah? I don't think so, unless you're missing SCT skills and you're desperate for a unit that can restore SCT. In that case, then Tilith is probably worth it because she can provide a lot of SCT to your team. So she might have more value for your account if you don't have SCT skills. But for someone like me, I am kind of in the middle with this unit. Like, I see her value, I know she's good, but I don't think she's going to replace Spirit Maiden Sarah for me, and I think I would rather use Spirit Maiden Sarah in most situations, so that's why I'm not immediately like, I need this unit, because I've already got an alternative unit which could be better in some situations, so it doesn't feel like I need it, right? So she's not a must-have for players like me that already have Spirit Maiden Sarah and just don't feel like they need it, right? So yeah, that's just kind of what I think about this unit. She's going to be good, she's going to be great, for sure, but not game-changing. But if I were to rate her on the tier list, she's going to be very high on the PvE tier list, but is she going to rate as well as Spirit Maiden Sarah? I can't say, I don't know. I don't want to put ratings out there, but she's probably going to be quite close, is what I'm going to say right now. But let's have a look at the arc next, because we haven't looked at this yet. So this is the limited arc on this banner. I believe these are like the starter units or something that you pick when you start the game, if I'm remembering right. Because I do remember loading up the game and you select starter units, unless I'm remembering wrong, I don't know, but yeah. So the trait on this one, 15% strength, and you also boost strength based on how low your HP is, maximum 30% when you have 30% HP or less. Honestly, I never really care about effects that boosts effects when you are at low health. I don't really care about those, because I don't like messing around with those effects. Physical attack and special damage to divinity type enemies, plus 40%, and physical damage cap to bosses, plus 5,000. If you only have one weapon equipped, then you get another 5,000. It's a decent trait, but honestly I wouldn't use it because there are better options, unless you don't have those better options. Because this can give you strength, which is very important. Strength, physical damage, and damage cap, so it's not a bad trait. It's just there can be better options. You're only going to be using this against divinity type enemies, so it's nothing crazy. It's just a generic arc trait that gives you damage and strength, which isn't bad. It's just like nothing crazy. There could have been some more unique effects here, you know. But let's have a look at the learnable skills next, which this gets a lot better. There's some good ones in here. Living on the Edge, I think we've seen that before. Fire Raid, I think that one's new now on this arc. This one's great. Get a fire attack damage buff at the start of the battle. A very good skill. I don't think we have that yet. We have other raid skills, but I don't think I have this one yet. Godslayer. Yeah, of course, Icy Guardian, but you're going to be using this trait if you're struggling with strength and hitting damage cap, probably. The only situation when you'll use it. Favored Sword, we've seen before, but actually, isn't this... I think this is only on a UR arc, isn't it? So now this is on an LR arc, which isn't much of an improvement if you ask me, but if you don't have Favored Sword already, then this is another arc where you can get Favored Sword, which is great, because Favored Sword is a decent skill, even though it's kind of expensive. It gives 10,000 damage cap. Can be used sometimes. Knight's Mindset. Any mindset skill's trash, never use it. Horrible. Now here's the most important skill, the best skill on this arc. It's not like the best skill ever, but it is a very good skill. Brave Frontier, it's literally the name of the collab. When you get a skill that's called the name of the collab, you know it's going to be kind of insane. 20 SC is stupidly expensive, but what does it do exactly? Well, when you're physical or special attacking, increase the unit strength by 30%, which is quite a lot, and deal damage. So basically, in the calculation of when you use your physical attacks or special, it's going to increase the strength by 30%. I believe how this works is it takes into account your current strength, so it includes all of your passive skills, strengths, and buffs like Brave, I believe, and it should be multiplying everything by 30%. If that is how it works, then that isn't just a flat plus 30% strength skill. It would end up being a lot more than that, but I'm just guessing that that's how that works. I think it's multiplicative based on how it's worded, because it's when you're attacking it increases your strength, unless it doesn't work like that. It could just be a, you know, plus 30% strength of your base unit strength stat. It could be. Maybe Lake will update it on the website when it's there, but I'm hoping it's basically multiplying all of your strength by 1.3. Basically, that would be insane if that were to be the case, but if it's not, I understand, because it sounds kind of strong, if you ask me. I don't quite remember how those effects work, that's why I'm not 100% sure on it. But because it doesn't say strength plus 30%, that's why I'm questioning it and thinking it might be better than what it just says. So physical attack and special damage cap, the boss is 10,000, and when you only have one weapon equipped, you get 10,000 more damage cap. So this may not seem like an amazing skill to some players because it's 20 SC and very expensive. But the value with this skill is the strength buff. That is the best thing about the skill. 30% strength that you can stack with all of your other strength effects that you have in the unit, right? That's the best thing with this. And why it's so important is because bosses at endgame content like Battlegraph Simulator get such insane stats that strength becomes the most important thing, one of the most important things against those content. I'll look at Vargas later. Shift Arc is still better, not going to compare to it at all. No competition whatsoever, but you shouldn't be comparing those two. If you already have Shift Arc, Vargas, it's going to be worse, 100%. No competition right there, but he's still good. But he's free, so what do you expect? You're kind of expecting too much at that point. But yeah, I do think this skill, you're only going to be using it on your plus 30 units probably, because 20 SC is kind of expensive, right? Because if I were to compare this to some other skills, like I think there's one called With You that gives plus 20% strength for 7 SC. So if you're comparing it to something like that, this isn't as good. But if it is multiplying everything by 30% after all your buffs and everything, then it's going to be even better than what it is. So yeah, it's going to be a great skill. I would really like to have this skill because I can see myself using it on every single plus 30 PvE unit that I have. Especially Shift Arc, this is going to be amazing on him for sure. It's going to be a very strong skill. It's not a must have, it's just a very strong skill that would be nice to have for PvE content, right? Yeah, Vargas' skill animation isn't the best, but his DPS numbers I've seen so far is like 6.8 mil on his skill 3. So it's actually quite good. He actually has quite decent DPS for a free unit. Almost 7 mil as long as you're against god types. That's the thing, you have to be against god types, but I'm going to talk more about him later. Let's have a look at the Arc Ether reward next. This one is an armor. Strength, defense, physical damage taken minus 15%, increase HP by 12%, and strength by 10%. Give you 10 ice resistance and some illness resistance. It's a decent one, nothing crazy though. I wish it gave physical damage as well, but that's probably asking for too much. It could be a somewhat decent one for counter units, if I'm honest, because you take less physical damage, more HP and more strength would be perfect for a counter unit. So maybe in the future, or maybe for like Fairy King it could be good, but Fairy King's paid armor is still better, so it's not going to be replacing that. But yeah, it's a decent one, nothing crazy. I think this arc is decent. You don't need it, but it does have some quite good effects on it that are, you know, useful, right? The trait doesn't really matter too much. You're not going to be using it just for the trait. You're going to be using this arc for the learnable skills, Fire Raid and Brave Frontier. Those two skills you're going to be using the most, especially this skill right here. If it does multiply all of your strength by 30%, then it's going to be one of the best skills for PvE content, for endgame content, for like Background Simulator. If it does work like that, it's going to be insanely good. But it's not, you don't need it. Is it worth buying it? That's up to you. I'm not gonna say what you should do with your paid crystals, but it's up to you if you feel like you're gonna get enough value out of it. Don't get it yet. Save, wait for your tickets. Always get every single possible ticket you can first of all. But overall, this banner, or a part 1 banner, actually quite a good banner, if I'm honest. You've got a very good unit, Tilith. She's going to be a meta unit, 100%. She's probably not going to be as good as Spirit Maiden Sarah, but she can be better in some situations for players that don't have an SET skill. She's going to be amazing for PvE content. Not going to replace Spirit Maiden Sarah, but, you know. And you've also got quite a good arc with the learnable skills and the arc reward being decent enough, I suppose. It's mostly the learnable skills. So it's definitely worth trying to get something from this banner at some point before the collab ends. Either getting the unit or the arc, they're both going to be useful. So I would recommend to get at least something from this banner if you can, as long as it doesn't require pity. If it does, then it is what it is. Tilith is probably the kind of unit that is worth pity for some players. She's going to be a unit that probably won't get power crept for many years, like Spirit Main of Serra and Spirit Main of Theria and Rena were units that were never power crept for a super long time, and I think Tilith is going to join those units. She's not a step up from Spirit Main of Serra. She's like a side grade where she's better in some situations for some players, but has similar performance. Can be worse performance as well, but you know, both good in their own way. Now let's have a look at her paid equipment next. Honestly, these paid equipments, I've seen them, they're not that amazing. I think the robe is going to be the best one. Let's have a look at it first of all. So she has a robe and an accessory. Have a look at the robe first. So MP, defense, mind. The trait is what matters. Damage taken from enemies minus 25%. So more mitigation is great. Duration of buffs from active skills plus 15%. And MP is increased by 10%. Battle start restore skills 2 SCT by 10 seconds. Also gives you some attribute resistance and some blind resistance. Really doesn't matter. Why give blind resistance on a support unit that does no damage, Adis? I'm questioning you. Why? Whatever. Okay, there's not... It could have... Poison would have been more useful than blind, because blind just... Why? I don't know. Anyway, this robe... The trait on this robe is pretty good. You don't need it, because she has a support, and a base kit is going to be just fine. She doesn't require anything. But what this does give her is even more maximum MP, which honestly probably is not even necessary, because her base MP is going to be fine, I think. And you can increase it from other ways anyway. So when is that going to be necessary? Probably in super long battles, but even then, you're probably fine. The damage mitigation is good. Duration is good. And the SCT is good. All of it's good, but it's not necessary. Do you need it? No. It would be nice to have, though. It's just alternative options I'll look at in a bit. But basically, all you really need for a robe for a support unit is damage mitigation or MP, or less enemy attention drawn. Those kind of effects for a support is all you really need. So this would be the one I would consider getting, but don't need it. And now this accessory is kind of bad, if I'm honest. MP, defense, mind, physical and magic damage taken from bosses minus 10%. It's not much, and you won't faint from enemy attacks. Okay, it's good, but that's it from a trait, which is kind of underwhelming if you ask me, for a unit that is mostly a PvE unit. When do you get fainted in PvE? Answer me that. Hardly ever. Like, yes, there may be like 1 or 2 bosses that do that entire game, but if you're going up against a Battlegraph Simulator boss, have you ever worried about faints in a Battlegraph Simulator boss? Or a raid boss? No. That's just not a thing that happens. So it is not that useful. It would only be useful in PvP, really. Also gives some resistance and poison resistance. So it is okay, but honestly you don't need it. I would skip that one entirely. It's not that good, because where you're going to be using her in the most is PvE content. If she was a PvP unit and this was not just against bosses, then it would have been a better accessory, because not fainting is very useful in PvP, but she doesn't need it. So because of that, the accessory isn't worth getting, and there are just better options for MP or damage mitigation and stuff, so you can skip that one. The robe, you don't need it, but it's the one I would pick if I were to pick one of the two anyways. Is it worth buying it? Up to you, but I wouldn't say, I don't think so. I don't think it's worth buying it, but she will be useful for a very long time. So, it's up to you, I suppose. You probably don't need it. Yeah, there's nothing crazy in there, so free-to-play players, just don't worry about them, I think. So that's everything in regards to everything in part 1. I do want to talk about Vargas, but what I wanted to do with Vargas is talk about his entire kit, and then in the unit test play quest, and then showcase him immediately after that. So I think I'm going to talk about Vargas and showcase him and everything at the same time after I've done the summons and everything. And then after I've showcased Vargas, then I can showcase Tilith somehow. The showcase with Tilith isn't really going to be a showcase, but anyway. So let's just have a quick look at the shop and things, and then I will do a few summons. We'll see if we can get something. Hopefully, I'm most likely going to buy those tickets, but we'll see. Most of these packs you can ignore, honestly. This one's good for newer players because you can get a unit maxed out, all of their skills unlocked and everything, which is good. It's really good for newer players or players that are lacking materials. Everyone else can ignore it though. This would be great. I'm probably going to get it if I don't get anything yet. So I am gonna do some summons, but like always, you should take your time. I don't recommend to throw all your crystals at it yet, because there are more tickets in the event. I don't know how many tickets there are in total, but it's like 40 is what they said. There might be a bit more. Also, the if you go in the news, there's the repost and share promo, which gives you some more tickets of each banner, which, if it would load, which it doesn't, now it is, you get 3 more tickets for each. So it's best to wait for this. Part 2 is in a week. So next Thursday, which is gonna be the 25th of June, is part 2. Which is gonna be Arc for part 2. Yeah, she's definitely worth pulling, but I don't know if she's worth pitying. It depends on your account. I'm gonna do some summons now. We're gonna start off with tickets. And if anyone wants to, you know everything about these units and everything, you can always watch this live stream as a video later, and or skip back to parts of the videos and timestamps and all that stuff. Also, if you haven't noticed, I put my Discord link in the description. I'm going to start putting my Discord link in every future video I do, I think. Just so I don't have to keep posting it if anyone asks. But yeah, if you are not aware, I've made that recently. Let's start doing a few summers. Let's hope we can get something from tickets. Probably not. I doubt it, but you never know. Lilibet is a gold. I'm just going to watch it anyway. It's going to stay gold, probably. Now, what is the thing that I would want the most? There's a red. Okay, is it new? I doubt it. It's probably a dupe, isn't it? Wait a minute, what's this wrong with this screen? Hello? Look what I got. I got nothing. Wow. The invisible arc that doesn't exist. What? Okay. Is this just because I'm on an emulator or what? Wait a minute, it's on the... I don't know. I don't know what just... Well... Okay, that's great. I don't want to brag, but that was the first ticket I ever opened in this collab. I'm gonna point that out there. Happens on the Steam version as well. Okay. It might just be a bug on computer or with summons. I don't know if it happens on phone, because I would never know, but yeah, well, okay, well, that's amazing. I don't have to worry about buying that. Not gonna complain, because people hate that I complain when I get lucky, and that was amazing. I love that. We've still got 20 pulls left. Maybe we can get the unit, probably won't, but at this point, I don't expect anything else. Well, I never expected anything to begin with, so we're off to a good start. I'm definitely going to be using the Brave Frontier skill, 100%. I'm going to be using that, for sure. Let's go back, use our tickets, see if we can pull Tilith, if possible. I'm not going to spend many crystals today, because we already got one thing. We'll try and get Tilith. If not, it's no big deal. Then I'll probably just wait and take my time with it and try and pull her when I can, but we'll see what happens first of all. So, Lilibet isn't always bad, but this one looks bad because it's a blue and it's just Lilibet. Unless the game's trolling, which is not. 2, 3. That's not enough, is it? There's a red. Please! Tilith! No, it's only one red, isn't it? It's gonna be a dupe. Yeah. It was a unit. We got close, but I would have been asking for too much. And the final 10 pull that we got. Yeah, okay, so maybe it's just on the computer that it bugs out for some reason. Final 10 pull ticket. Can we get... It's a Lilibet again. It's a blue. It's probably bad, but there's still a chance for a red, but I don't think there's going to be anything in this one. I'm going to call it. There's going to be nothing in here. Told ya. Yep. I don't know if you can get random... I think you can still get random reds appear, but it doesn't happen that often. It really doesn't. Okay. That's all the tickets I've got. Can't complain. I'm never going to complain about that. That was great. Really good tickets. I'm going to do lap 1. I'm going to do lap 1, see if we can get Tilith, and then I'll probably stop after lap 1, because I don't want to spend too many crystals. I'm going to skip it, because there's probably nothing in there, as expected. It was just 2 pulls anyway. I don't remember if you get... I don't... those are the permanent pulls, the ones that have cheaper lap 2s. We got 9 more pulls left, and then we'll be done. Zekus, at least it's not a Lilibet this time as a blue though. It's not going to be very good. It's going to be bad. There's nothing in here, unless Sarah shows up, but nah, skip. And then the final 6 pulls, and then probably after that, I do want this unit, don't get me wrong, but because I got the arc already, I don't need a rush. Zekus, don't be a blue, be a gold. There's a blue. Oh, probably nothing in this one either. Nah, it's just a gold. Great. I was hoping for like one more red or something, but that doesn't count. That doesn't count as a red. That really doesn't. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do from now is, I know I have a lot of crystals, but I like to be smart with them, okay? Don't just chuck them at the screen, because then you'll have none left in a few weeks. That's just how the game works. What I'm going to do is... There should be part 1 tickets in here, right? No? Not this one. The other one. There should be part 1 tickets in here. Yes. So you could get tickets from here and get lucky. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do these daily single pulls every day to try and get Tilith from those. And I'm also going to be doing the event to try to get tickets from that as well. To hopefully get Tilith eventually. Because I would like to have her, honestly. I don't want to pity because I don't think it's worth pity for me, if I'm honest. I don't think I need it because I've got Spirit Man and Serenite. I feel like how much of an improvement would it be over Spirit Man and Sarah in like Battleground Simulator? I don't use her in Battleground Simulator anyway, so yeah, I probably don't need it because Lena on my account is still better. Hopefully this music isn't too loud. Because it is kinda... So, I don't think I'd change that either, because really... Let's just do that. Okay. What I'm gonna do now is... I do want to start showcasing and reviewing Vargas and Tilith. Well, I want to review Vargas and showcase him, try him out first, and then start showcasing Tilith. But the showcase for Tilith is going to be basically just showing off her effects, pretty much. So, let me just quickly show the events, and then we'll start going over Vargas after that. Right. Also, I need to remember to go to Steam. I'm going to do that. Just open that up so I get better performance. Close that. And I just want to show you in the event where the tickets and stuff are. And then we'll start having a look at Vargas. Because he'll be fun. He's the damage dealer that we have at the moment. So he'll be more interesting to test. Let me just show you this event real quick. And then we'll have a look at Vargas. Basically, it is a typical event. We've seen events like this before. All dungeon clear rate, all that stuff. I use the emulator so I can access my paid crystals from Android. And then I log into Steam when I do the showcase of the units because it has better performance than the emulator. That's just kind of how I do it. I play mainly on my phone though when I'm not streaming. I just only play on phone. There's a bottle right there. Right. I just want to show you quickly some of the rewards in here. So there are, I think these are just normal hero tickets. That's a event weapon. You can get part 1 ticket right there, and then there's a part 2 ticket, another part 2 ticket, and I think those are just hero tickets, or yeah, they should be hero tickets. We've already got one of those tickets. Wait a minute, have I claimed that ticket? I think I have. Wait a minute, when did we get that? Oh, yeah, I haven't claimed that. It should give me that ticket now, right? I should have that one single ticket, I think. Also, training space, of course, like always, there's going to be tickets in here. Which doesn't want to load, because it's being funny, and I don't know why. Why? Okay, yeah, there's tickets in there. And there's tickets in the rewards, and there may be like clear rewards and stuff. I know you get the temple ticket and Vargas from clearing this. You get Vargas from clearing this stage, I think, and then you get the temple ticket from clearing one of the stages too, which might have been that stage as well, or one of those. Yeah. Did I get... don't think I claimed that. Yeah, I do have that ticket. Okay, it just didn't show up. I will... Yeah, they always do that in the events. I got one last ticket. Let's use the ticket. I'll just skip it, because it's not going to be anything. Anyway. In pretty much all their collab events they do in this game, they put the 10 ball ticket in like the first event stage that you do, or one of the first event stages. Now let's have a look at the unit test play quest. So we're going to be here for quite a while to have a look at these units now. So what I'm going to do first of all is start having a look at Vargas. I do need to remind myself to go over like recommended equipment options and stuff for these units. I'll do that afterwards if I remember. I'll probably forget by then. But anyways, what I want to do first of all is start reviewing Vargas's kits, because I haven't done that yet. So we're going to do what we normally do with the unit's kit. Start having a look at his kit, because we haven't seen his kit yet. I managed to get the Arc earlier. I'm still waiting on Tilith. I'm gonna take my time on that. So let's start having a look at Vargas and his kit. So he is going to be the fire damage dealer. He's a single wield fire damage dealer, right? And he's a soldier type unit. These stats include his current equipment, so that's why they look like that. His abilities. So his skills, they aren't that crazy. His skill 3 is his best DPS skill. That's the one you're going to be using the most. His skill 1 is a instantly close the gap for a wide area fire combo attack. So that's a close the gap skill. Very nice to have. Very useful to have a close the gap skill 1 always. But the downside is his skill 1 is going to be his lowest DPS skill. And this one is 8 hits. So you're only ever going to be using this you're only ever going to use it to close the gap. And then you'll start using your skill 3 and skill 2 more, because you're never going to be using skill 1 just for DPS, because it's the worst skill in his kit for DPS. And our skill 2 is just a medium area fire combo attack, says the same thing from skill 3 as well, so it doesn't really tell you much. This one is 14 hits. It's a bit better than skill 1, but still not that great, honestly. All these animations are average. They don't stand out to me. And then the skill 3, another medium area fire combo attack, but this one is 22 hits and is his fastest skill. So this is going to be the skill that you're going to want to spam to get the best DPS out of this unit. And if you keep spamming this skill 3 against god type enemies, he's going to be doing like above like 6.8 mil, or between 6 mil and 7 mil, around there, DPS with his skill 3 against god type enemies. Now his special is quite an interesting one. So with his special, it gives this unit a damage cap plus 20,000 buff, and it is a powerful all enemy fire combo attack followed by a strength minus 35% debuff. When it's boosted by overdrive buff, it makes the effect damage cap plus 60,000 and strength minus 50% instead, which means it gives the unit plus 60,000 damage cap and gives the enemy minus 30% strength debuff when you have the overdrive buff active. Now that won't make sense yet because we haven't seen that part of his kit yet, but basically this special doesn't just do damage, it also gives himself a damage cap buff, and the enemy that he's targeting, well, all enemies get a strength defense debuff, well, a strength debuff, so it is a useful special if I'm honest. And this one is 59 hits on this special. It's not going to be the best for damage, but it is going to be quite useful for giving him the buff for more damage cap. And of course the strength debuff is going to be quite useful as well, especially the 50% strength debuff that you can only use like once. But it's still pretty solid, especially considering he's a free unit. So now let's move on. Let's move on to his traits next. So trait 1, when equipped with only one weapon, fire damage 30% damage cap 110,000 damage cap, which is a lot of damage cap for a trait, honestly. But he is a sinkable damage dealer. And damage cap doesn't paint the entire picture. It does matter, but to an extent. Skill animations and stuff matter more. Boss wave start. So at the start of a boss wave, this unit gets the overdrive buff. So that is what it mentioned in the special. When he is boosted by the overdrive buff, it boosts the effects of the special. And he gets it at the start of a boss wave. When it is active, give special used damage plus 120% and damage cap 250,000 and chance for special to deal fatal strikes. And boost buff and debuff effects given, yeah, from a special. So basically, how this works is at the start of a boss wave, he gets this buff, and then when he uses his special, it uses the buff to increase the special damage by 120% and increase the damage cap by 250,000, and it gives it a chance to deal fatal strike damage, and it also boosts the effects right here, giving him 60,000 damage cap buff and giving the enemies minus 50% strength debuff. So quite significant, quite a strong effect right there. But you lose the buff when the special activates, and I don't think there's any way to re-give the buff either. I'll check in his kit soon, but it is strong. I just think if you can only use it once, then it's not going to be as good as it sounds, I think. On boss wave, increase this unit's HP and defense by 100%. So yeah, I do think he's going to be more of a bruiser type unit, based off of that and the fact that he's got more defense and strength in this unit test play quest. But let's have a look at trait 2 next. At start of battle, give this unit a 100% strength buff. If the LR Archy reward is good for Vargas, yeah, it's going to be for sure. It's not going to be the best in slot, but yeah, it can definitely work for sure. For any unit that can use an armor, basically. 100% strength buff. User 10 skills. Okay, I haven't seen that part yet because I haven't read his entire kit properly yet. 100% strength buff is more. That's double than an EX Brave buff, which is quite insane. I don't know if it's continuous, because it doesn't say it's continuous until he dies. So it does say right here. Let me just keep reading and not jump to conclusions before. When revived, give unit a strength plus 35% buff. Each of these last until this unit is incapacitated. So there you go. That's amazing. He gets a plus 100% strength buff until this unit dies, and then when he gets revived, it's 35% strength instead. Yeah, if you don't have many armors, then it's going to be good, but I need to see the rest of his kit to see if he actually needs an armor first, or if he can use clothes instead, because clothes are probably better. When equipped with only one sword, so he is very specific right there, you need to have one sword, but that's not an issue. The weapon choice options with this unit don't matter, because you get his paid weapon for free in the event, and then you can Godforge it and make it pretty strong. So the weapon options don't matter for this unit, as you get given the weapon, so it's great. Damage cap to divinity type enemies, plus 50,000. So you get more damage cap to divinity type enemies. So that's why I think he's going to be, his best performance is going to be against god type enemies, because he does have a lot of damage and damage cap against god type enemies. I believe he has more effects in his kits apart from that as well. Chance to resist flinch from physical and magic attacks from divinity type enemies as well. It's only a chance. I hope it's a high chance, because if it's not a high chance, then it's not going to be super reliable, right? But I'm hoping it's high enough to be almost guaranteed, but we'll see. And you take 30% less damage from divinity type enemies as well. So this trait 2 is heavily focusing on his performance against divinity type enemies. And you'll see from the rest of his kit as well that he has more divinity type effects as well. So basically you're only going to be using him against divinity type enemies and god type enemies the most. you can make him work outside of it, but his best performance is going to be hitting those divinity type enemies. Now let's have a look at his passive skills. So HP plus 2, attack up max, fighting spirit 5, resolve up 2 and 5, heroism up 4, critical up 3, divinity saber 2, more damage and damage cap to those divinity types, and divinity shield 3, take even less damage against divinity types. So you can see heavily leaning into that divinity type units, where his main job is going to be killing divinity type enemies and tanking those enemies. He's going to be quite tanky against divinity type enemies for sure. Anti-type breakthrough, more damage cap, great. Make sure you hit those slayers. I haven't seen slayers yet, so it should be like towards the bottom, I suppose. Flame armor, awaken 2, pride, fire drive breakthrough 3 is just more damage cap, fire attack raise 4, goddess kiss, favored sword, two-handed sword, and two-handed sword boost 2 and 4. Sword high boost, giga boost, armor giga boost, armor HP plus 2, special boost for skill charge 1 for some reason. It would have been better if it was skill charge 3, honestly, because that's his best skill, but skill charge 1 is nice because it's his closer gap skill, I suppose it's nice. Celestial mass, I never care about this in PvE content. You never need it, because you're going to want your MP for... Well, MP doesn't really matter on your physical damage dealers in PvE content. I suppose it's alright, and the fact that he has Goddess Kiss could be useful, I suppose, but I don't really care about the mitigation for PvE content, if I'm honest. Giant Killing 4, Crimson Stance is where we start getting into his unique skills. This one is continuous haste and critical and speed effects, and when you only have a fire sword, which is his paid weapon anyways, that's free, you get 30% fire damage and 40,000 damage cap. Well, equip one weapon, skill and special damage and damage cap. Take less damage when equipping the unit only weapon. Triple the effect. Well, there you go. Now, this would have been a massively controversial skill if it was a paid only weapon. But luckily, it's a free weapon that everyone gets. So, it's not a big deal. And basically, this is the only weapon choice that you have, which is fine because it's his paid weapon. It's going to be his best weapon, and basically it's going to triple the effect of all of that. So you're going to get 30% skill and special damage, and then 90,000 damage cap, 30% damage mitigation, pretty much. When you have his paid weapon on, his free weapon. Next one is, you can definitely tell it's something to do with gods. Give physical attacks and special and anti-god type effect. Why is it not anti-divinity type? I don't know. When there is a god type enemy, activate an effect to restore 1 SCT stock for 1 random skill twice. Which is nice. Some SCT regen, basically quick trigger, two quick triggers, but applied to the same skill. It's okay. It's decent. He only has god type Slayer. He should have had Divinity Slayer, but okay. Hero Armor is the next one. So when you have an armor equipped, increase armor defense by 100% and damage taken minus 15%. Basic stats, ailment resistance plus 1, and sizably cut faint time. So you only get these effects if you have an armor equipped. The biggest question I have is it an armor, or is it an armor? I'm not joking, I mean, let me word it seriously. Is it an actual armor, or is it any form of attire? Right? We don't know. And Adis decides that they won't tell us, because it's a translation error or something that they have never changed. So we will never know if this is an attire or specifically an armor until Goldmine is updated. I would assume you need to have an armor specifically, but if it's any attire armor, then you can use anything and you can use clothes. But if you are forced to use an armor specifically, then you would need an armor to get those benefits. But the good thing is you're not actually getting any damage from it. So you don't technically need to have an armor at the moment. There's more effects at the bottom which I see that requires an armor, but we'll see those first. Boss wave start, and when revived on a boss wave, special gauge plus 50%. On boss waves, whenever a skill is used 10 times, you get the overdrive buff. Okay, there it is. So you get overdrive on a boss wave when you use a skill 10 times, which is great, which means he can now basically continuously keep getting his best special buff, which is 60,000 damage cap buff and giving enemies minus 50% strength debuff. And of course it's going to have a chance for Fatal Strike and do more damage, so that's no problems, because by the time you get your special back anyways, you're going to be using more than 10 skills, of course, unless you're using a Great Wall of Ruin and charging it instantly. That's a different case, but it basically prevents you from spamming your special multiple times in a row, because you have to use at least 10 skills before you use the next one to get the best bonus out of your special. So yeah, a nice skill right there. And then we get on to 6 enhanced skills, more damage cap, special damage cap, strength and defense. When you have an armor equipped, defense, take less damage. If you have a fire weapon, which you're gonna because of his free accessible weapon that everyone gets, you get more damage and damage cap. God Brave 2, so more damage and damage cap against god types. This is quite significant. If you start adding up everything he has in his kit, the extra damage and damage cap he gets against god types, like in his traits, he gets, wherever it is, 50,000 damage cap against divinity type enemies. And then he also has this, which is 80,000 more damage cap and 30% damage. So definitely make sure you hit those god type enemies, otherwise his performance is not going to be as good. And then Giant Shield is the final one, right here. So honestly, it's a decent kit for a free unit. He's actually going to be pretty good for a free unit, right? Because they could have just put this unit in a banner and it would have made sense. He probably would have been a skip for most players, because the players that have Shift Arc already, they're not going to care about this unit unless they are a fan of this collab and this unit. So, but some people would have pulled for this unit anyway. Even if it was the same kit in a banner, they would have pulled for it. So the fact that it's free is great, and his performance against god type enemies specifically is going to be quite good, if I'm honest. It's going to be great for a free unit. Now the thing is, he is more niche, right? His best performance is against those god type enemies. So when you're not hitting those god type enemies, he's not going to do as good, and he's going to be like, he's probably still going to be usable, but a bit below average. But for a free unit, the performance against non-god type enemies is still going to be solid enough to be usable. That's the thing. So any newer player is going to be loving this unit right now, because he's an amazing unit to get for free, and the fact you don't need to pull him is, and he's actually a current usable unit that isn't outdated, is amazing to me. So he is worth using, especially if you're a newer player. If you're a veteran player like me, that's been around for a long time, he isn't as good, but he's still useful for endgame players. That even if you have literally every single unit in the game, he can be useful, because you can use him in raid bosses against bosses that are weak to fire, and maybe if they're a god type as well, against god types, he's going to be quite good. And definitely a above average unit when you're hitting god type enemies. Now let's have a look at his equipment that they have on in his unit test play quest. This is his paid weapon, by the way. It's quite good, or a weapon you get for free, and then you can God Forge it. It might be a bit stronger than that, because I think that's just level 1, unless it can be, it might be able to be leveled up to plus 20 or something, we'll see. So it could be stronger, maybe. 25% damage, 3,000 damage cap, more strength. This is pretty strong for a weapon. Brave Star armor. So that's his current build. Yeah, he does seem like a very good unit for a free unit. I do want to try him out now. So, let's try him out in the unit test playquest right now. And start showcasing this unit to see his actual performance. And start explaining his skills, showing off their animations. Which will be fun. Yeah, I don't think it's accessible yet. It's probably going to open like next week or soon. So, first of all, his stats are quite solid. His defense is actually quite high. You can tell he's a bruiser type unit. He's going to be quite tanky, especially against god type enemies. He's going to tank them no problem. So, if you're struggling against a certain god type boss, then try using him as long as the enemy doesn't have stupid high fire resistance. Like above 100 or something, because you can still reduce it. It should still work. He only has Godslayer. Almost 13,000 strength. Could have been a bit higher, but still not bad. So normal attacks, kind of what you would expect. And then skill 1 is his close the gap skill. You're only ever going to be using this for closing the gap because the actual DPS of the skill is his lowest DPS skill. But it's not bad. You can see his damage cap is actually quite solid, because this enemy does have a debuff for all the enemy attributes, giving the enemy all of the enemy types in the game. So this enemy does technically have a god type right now, so he does have God Slayer, all those extra damage caps he's got right now. So that's why he's hitting 0.5 mil per hit, which is, yes, it's quite insane, but if you try and compare it to Shift Arc, it's not going to be as good. I just recommend don't compare those two units. Now, that overdrive buff does wear off, by the way, because it's gone. I haven't used it. So after 40 seconds, the buff has disappeared. Kind of sucks. So that does mean you have to use your skills to get it back. Now, skill 2, close range, 14 hits. It is a bit faster than skill 1. Nothing crazy though. I think it's like about 5 mil DPS or something against god type enemies. It's not bad. Maybe like 5.7. It is decent enough. So if you run out of skill 3s, skill 2 is your best alternative option. And then his skill 3 is going to be his fastest skill and the best skill that you should be using on him at all times, basically. It reminds me of Shift Arc's skill 3. Because it's like, yeah. Now if I try and spam this one, you'll start seeing how good it is. Pretty good. You can spam it decently well. It's quite quick. It is very good for a free unit, I have to say that. Now, let me try his special, because this will give him a buff for more damage cap. And you can also see the special animation on this. Fatal Strike. I have to say though, don't expect a Fatal Strike to happen very often on his special, because his base chance for Fatal Strike is going to be super low. It's like 1% or something very low, right? So, and he doesn't have anything in his kit that increases the Fatal Strike chance. Don't expect many Fatal Strikes. So now I have used his special. He gets a boost damage cap buff. And the enemy has a strength debuff, wherever it is. So he should have 60,000 more damage cap against this enemy to hit for 570,000. Which, yeah, that's pretty good. It is pretty good. Like, free unit. If you were to tell me this was a free unit, I wouldn't believe you. Like, it's quite good, if I'm honest. It makes me think how you can... It makes me think how good is the third unit going to be. Because if Vargas is like this at a free unit, then the part 2 unit, the third unit in this collab should be a million times better considering he's on a banner, right? Yeah, you should get like one every other special. Yeah, but like it's not. It's like an extra 4 mil. Let me use this first of all this time. See how much damage it does by itself. There's one. Two fatal strikes. That was nice. So you can see when he has the buff, overdrive buff, and he uses his special, he can do quite a lot of damage in one special, and it hits all enemies. So honestly, it's quite a decent special. You just can't spam it because you have to use 10 skills before you use the next one. So you can't use arc skills or Tilith to restore your special gauge, right? Yeah, that arc should be good. Like, there's no way he's going to be worse than Vargas. Like, if they're going to want to sell the unit, right? They usually, most of the time, like 80, maybe like 75% of the time or something, they make the best unit the final unit. Yeah, well, you can see it's not bad. This is just base kit. Of course it does have the limited arc, his weapon which you can get for free, so this performance isn't too far off what a new player could reach, honestly. So it's quite solid. I think that's everything I wanted to show with this unit for now. I don't think there's really anything else to really explain with this unit. He's a very basic unit. Basically just a quite a strong fire damage dealer that performs best against god types. That's all you really need to know. And overdrive buff, quite important. Make sure you use this. Make sure you use his special when he has his overdrive buff, and only use the special when you have the buff active. Keep spamming skills and you should be good. Yeah, should be pretty great, honestly. I'm surprised he's free. I didn't think they would do that. It's been a long time since we've had a free unit in this game. The last one we had was like, I don't know, a few years ago. It was a long time ago that we had a free unit. I know Duran was free, but he got Insight. That's kind of a different story, but a completely new free unit. It's been a long time. We had Eren was free. Alphonse was kind of trash. 9S was pretty bad. But finally a solid free unit. Rarely get those that often. So now I want to show Tilith in the showcase. But this is not going to be an easy showcase because she's a support unit. Yeah, the collab's finally here. Took its time. They announced it like 2 months ago. What I want to do with this showcase is I just quickly want to show you her magic skills, her stats, her skill animations, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know anything about Gummy or anything, so no idea on that. Obviously both pain weapon, blade equipments, and let's just try her out in here. I just want to show you what her skill animations look like, and her special, and her, you know, support stuffs. Yeah, when he's fully built, he can do a lot of damage, that's for sure. So, her current stats, obviously she's going to have high mind, because that's what support units always have. Look at her attribute resistance, by the way, and her ailment resistance. Very good. Amazing resistances right here. You can tell they're definitely trying to sell this unit. Right, so she does have the buff, boost resistance, all those attributes. I just want to show you, I want to try these out. Because these are not time stop, so you're probably not going to be using them that often. But she does get the durability shield, 3000 durability shield every time she heals. Yeah, it's event mission reward. I don't really need to show these because we know what they're going to do. Special Castle 2, first time we've seen that. I just want to see the icon for it. Got special damage taken. I was kind of expecting a different icon, if I'm honest, like what Magic Castle has. Because if you see... No, actually that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Then you got the wall effects, Giga Vitality Phaser, you know. Now, I actually want to show you off the skills. You don't really even see what it does. Skill 1 is the one that does an attack around herself and something else. Gives a damage taken from God's buff, boss's buff. Cut boss damage taken to all allies. And then Skill 2 is the one that hits all enemies and heals allies and gives the damage cap to bosses buffed all allies, which you can see is right there. And then her skill 3 is the one that gives an SCT regen buff after a certain amount of time, which is the one down here, restore SCT on timer, and when it runs out you'll see the SCT will jump up right there. And it also removes debuffs, but you can't really see that because there are no debuffs. But let's use the special. I just wanted to show off these animations and effects, really, because that's all I can really do with this unit as a support. This one restores special gauge and SCT. Also gives an auto revive buff. You can't really see it well in the showcase, really. It stores her own special gauge and SCT as well. Let me just test. Right. I see. I don't think they have... Let me just... I want to show off the SCT, restoring SCT stuff. So let me use all of the SCT on Vargas. And then I'm going to use the special. And now look at Vargas. He got 100% of his special gauge and every single one of his skills SCT fully restored immediately. That's crazy. And then you can use the special immediately. And then they're dead. Oh, you know, it's kind of better than I thought it would be, if I'm honest. The special gauge to allies is like a Great War of Ruin arc skill in the unit's kit, which is crazy. Like, think about it. This unit is gonna do so well with special damage dealers. We don't have that many. Shift arc is kind of good as a special damage dealer, honestly. He's pretty strong. But a thing that you can do now is, yeah, the first special use, special gauge 100% and fully restore all allies SCT. It did restore the special gauge of allies as well. which is insane. So the first special she uses, she will restore all allies' special gauge by 100%. So you're basically getting an extra Great War of Ruin in your team, which is quite insane, honestly. And if you give her Great War of Ruin as well, or let me think, how many specials can you do now on one unit? So you've got, yeah, basically 3, right? You've got Great War of Ruin, Arc Skills 1, and Great War of Ruin trait is another one because it restores it immediately. Then you've got Tilith's trait, which restores it a 3rd time. So you can do it 3 times in a row now, which is hilarious. Think about it. That's assuming the second unit has, the other unit has Great War of Ruin. Or you can restore everyone's SC special gauge in the entire team twice by just having Tilith in the team and Great War of Ruin. Arc skill, level 10. Which, in the past, that would have been an insanely broken thing to have. But nowadays, specials in general are not as useful as they used to be. But maybe this will change that to some extent. Because that's only the first time we use it. Every other time after that, special gauge plus 20%, not 100%. I do want to test how fast her special gauge charges, but I can't really test that in here. I'm going to just have a brief look anyways. And if you're going to wonder how I'm going to do that, it's going to be a stupid way. It's so good. It's so good. It's a free Great War of Ruin to everyone in the entire team every time she uses the special. It's just crazy. Even giving herself special gauge, which is like it's restoring itself. Like, imagine, this is the most broken thing ever, right? Imagine if it was always 100% special gauge, right? Every time she uses her special gauge, she restores her own special gauge and everyone else's special gauge by 100% every single time. Would be the most broken thing in the entire game that would break everything. And that's why it made it 20% and not 100%. 100% is only the first time. But oh well. I just wanted to see how much she would restore with normal attacking, but yeah, it's not. I'm going to assume she restores it very slowly. At least from her own skills, it's quite slow. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it's a bit better. It obviously came back. 2 for 1. I know, right? It would be 3 for 1 if you... Actually, wait. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't, because they would activate at the same time and cancel each other out, meaning... If you giving her Great War of Ruin means you would lose one of them, because the trait for Great War of Ruin and her trait would activate at the same time. They wouldn't activate separately, so you would be missing one of them. You wouldn't get 3 or however many. Okay, enough specials. If you bring a second... Oh. You just gave me an idea now. How many Tiliths do you need to have 100% special gauge? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You need 5. So if you have 5 Tiliths in one team, your first Tilith uses one. Gives everyone else 20%. Then you've got 4 left. You probably need 6, don't you? The Tilith ultimate infinite loop of specials that will do no damage. Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing though. right? Multiplayer, 3 Tiliths, 1 damage dealer. Hilarious. Amazing. So funny. You're gonna be able to spam your special 1, 2, 3 times. And then 2, 4, 6, 60% on top of that. and then a 4th special if you use Great Wall of Ruin. and then a 5th one if you use... This is yeah, in theory, yes, but in practice, it's just a meme team. You can't do only a multiplayer. So, yeah. He's quite crazy if I'm honest. It's great. And you know, more special gauge means more damage output. If you're using multiple damage dealers in your team, and using you could use like Tilith, Silver's Titulinius, and Shift Arc in the same team, then you'll have very fast special gauge restoration speed with Silver's Titulinius, and then you can just keep, quickly doing your specials. You know who loves specials? Guardian Angel Lucael loves specials. Yeah, I know you may have forgotten about her or don't know who she is. Well, she was the OG, the original units that broke everything. After that, it was base Alice, and then shift Alice. She did it twice. Quite impressive, if you ask me. Don't know how that happened, but I'm getting off topic, kind of. Specials have been super broken in the past, and Adis has been kind of toning them down a little bit compared to what they used to be like, right? Until Tilith came out. Yeah, at the end of the day, she is a great unit, and I knew she was a good unit, but actually seeing her in practice, seeing the effects myself, the restoring special gauge and SCT effects, going to be insanely good. And in some situations, the special gauge restoration and SCT is going to be more useful than Spirit Rain of Serra sometimes. Now, Spirit Rain of Serra would provide Godslayer and a bit more damage, same damage cap. In PvE, I think Tilith might be slightly better, if I'm honest with you. Now I'm thinking about it. Because they both provide the same amount of damage cap. If you don't care about mitigation, you're only looking at the offensive buffs the unit gives. Tilith gives less damage, same damage cap, but special gauge and SCT, which is probably more important than what Spirit Maid of Serra can do with mitigation. So it's probably going to be better. I would really like to get this unit. Well, yeah, I just had to see it in practice, right? And think more about it. That's what this stream is for, and why I do these streams, to fully understand how these units work and compare them to existing options. So, seeing her in practice, how she actually works, and some potential synergies with like Great Wall of Ruin and stuff, and units that can charge your special quicker, I think she's going to be quite good, 100%. She's not going to be stupidly game breaking, but she's going to be very fun, and a good alternative to Spirit Maid of Serra, and a better alternative in certain situations, which I can definitely see the value right there, because time stop special damage, insanely strong, right? Like in Battlegraph Simulator, if you're using a team like, which one? If you're using a team like this, right? Yeah, she's better in PvE and worse in PvP, that's exactly what she is. If you're going up against this boss, which is probably the most ideal boss, you're using Silver Society Lenius, which has double hit magic spells, right? Double hits. And there's multiple enemies in this boss. If you can somehow fit Tilith in this team, then she would restore the special gauge even more, which would be insanely funny. Is she worth going for if you have Serra already? Yes, to an extent. Like, I think she is going to be good, 100%. I'm probably gonna talk about that in the conclusion. Maybe I should finish off the stream very soon, because I think I've talked about everything I wanted to. So maybe now's a good time to talk about everything. I think. Thanks everyone from doing this, by the way. I do appreciate it. It's nice to get more crystals. I haven't even asked people to do it, but it's great. So yeah, let's go over to my conclusion then, right? Arc, we have no information on Arc yet, so we don't know. We have to wait and see. He's 100% a dual wield unit because he uses 2 swords. If he's not a dual wield unit, I am uninstalling because I've been lied to. He's using 2 swords. He's gonna be a dual wield unit. There's no way. He has to have true dual wield. If not, I'm gonna be sad. But anyways, my conclusion for today's stream. So far this collab has been pretty good, even though it just started today. So far, it's been pretty good in my opinion. In regards to part 1, we've got this amazing unit that I've done a lot of testing with. It turns out she can be better than Spirit Maiden Sarah in some situations because of her SCT restoration and special gauge. Restoring all of that to your entire team is insanely strong. And also the arc on this banner has quite useful learnable skills, so both things in this banner are quite good. I wouldn't really consider one better than the other, but honestly they both have long-term value, so yeah, if he's not dual, it would be crazy. With Tilith, if you already have Spirit Maiden Sarah, which like 90% of players are going to have Spirit Maiden Sarah already, Spirit Maiden Sarah is not going to replace Tilith, and Tilith won't replace Spirit Maiden Sarah. Tilith is like a side grade to Spirit Maiden Sarah. By that I mean Tilith does play a similar role, she has similar performance, but when you are looking for more niche effects, like more specific effects that Tilith has that Spirit Maiden Sarah doesn't have, like her SCT and special gauge restoration to the team, that is going to be the main reason why you would use Tilith. And the main reason why you would want to get Tilith is for the SCT and the special gauge restoration, because everything else in her kit honestly isn't that insane. And if she didn't have the SCT restoration and special gauge restoration in the kit, then I would have considered her a worse Spirit Maiden Sarah, honestly. But because she has those 2 effects in her kit, they're quite strong, and they do like put her over the edge and make her a lot more valuable than just a healer that gives mitigation, right? Because she provides those 2 effects which are stupidly strong effects that in this game always matter. Special gauge less than it used to be, but still it's very good effects. And yeah, she is a support unit and a healer. She's gonna last like a super long time. She's basically never gonna get power crept unless we get another even better support unit that has like more special gauge and SCT restoration. Who knows what's gonna happen in the future, but if you pull her or have to pity her, she's probably the unit worth getting, as she's gonna last probably the longest time on your account compared to a damage dealer. So I think she's gonna be really good for sure. Some players have been saying like she's a must pull. I don't want to go to that extent, because throwing around the term must pull, I never do that unless it's completely necessary, like when Spirit Maiden Sarah came out and completely changed the game and took over the entire meta. That's what I consider a must pull, right? So Tilith is, I would say, close to a must pull, almost a must pull. What doesn't make her a must pull is the fact that Spirit Maiden Sarah can perform better still, and can still be the better unit in some situations, especially in PvP. Sarah's not gonna Tilith won't replace Sarah, because Tilith is worse in PvP. So that's why I feel like she doesn't, you know, instantly speak to me as a must pull, because if you skip her, it's not the end of the world, as long as you have a Spirit Maiden Sarah. Now, if you're a player that does not have Spirit Maiden Sarah, and you're skipping Tilith, why are you playing this game, you dumbass? Like, why? No one should do that. There's gonna be no one that does that. I will find you and I'll kill you if you do that, because that's just evil. You should not be allowed to do that. That's illegal. You need to have at least one of these two units immediately. One of those, Spirit Maiden Sarah or Tilith, must be on your account, or both. Either works. At least one of them, but two of them is the ideal world. She kind of reminds me of like Renna. When Renna came out, she was like the newest best support. She's still good, but she's kind of squishy nowadays, so she isn't really used. But yeah, very tempting, and is worth trying to get her if you've already got Spirit Maiden Sarah. If you don't, she's a must pull if you don't have Spirit Maiden Sarah. But Spirit Maiden Sarah is quite easily accessible, and I believe you can select her in the reroll when you just start the game anyway, so I'm probably going to check that out when I try to make my video on reroll and stuff, if I plan to do that. I think Spirit Maiden Sarah is available at the start. Yeah, I don't remember though, because they keep updating it, that's why I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, about Vargas, even though he's a free unit, actually an amazing free unit, if I'm honest. Really good free unit. Definitely worth building, even if you have Shift Arc already. Vargas is another unit that you can put on like a separate team. Shift Arc is better in every way. He's the best damage dealer that has no competition in whatsoever. He's such a broken unit, literally, because he's a breaker unit. He broke the game. He broke the the entire DPS bar was raised with Shift Arc, and the entire breaking mechanic opened wide open. It's such a game changer of unit. Shift Arc is. The Vargas had no competition with it. Yeah, I mean, here's why Shift Arc is such a good unit though, is Break. Don't underestimate the power of Break. Break is, at least with Shift Arc, is such an insanely powerful mechanic when done right. Yeah, basically if you're just starting, this is the perfect collab to start, and a lot of players are going to be starting in this collab. Here's what I'm hoping, right? I'm hoping the third unit arc ends up being the unit for endgame players. That's what I'm hoping. Because so far it seems like we've got a free-to-play unit being Vargas, and then we have a new player-friendly support unit, Tilith, and I'm going to assume the third unit arc is going to end up being the unit aimed towards endgame players. That's my guess, because usually that happens. Yeah, well, here's the question though. Are those players actually going to stick around with this game? Or are they just going to quit the moment the collab is gone? Most players quit, if I'm honest. They're probably going to see the next event and be like, oh, I'm bored, let's leave. I know, yeah. But yeah, I'm really hoping that this collab basically reaches to a new community and expands our current community that we have. Hopefully we can get more players and a more active community, because it would be nice to build a bigger, you know, community in this game, and get this game a bit more popular than it is would always be nice. I know it's kind of asking for much, but if anything is going to do it, it's probably going to be this collab, if I'm honest. Yeah. Right. I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to do today. It's definitely a good collab so far. Actually, there's something I wanted to do real quick. They said music was on the limited arcs. Let me test that theory. I think they added music to these. Yeah, well, if you know the song, you know it. I don't, but it is cool. It's there anyway. Yeah, Tilith is definitely a meta unit. 100%. Let me just quickly check the tier list right now. There it is. I keep it saved. Currently, Spirit Maiden Sarah's a 10. Insight Lena's a 9.8. Where would I put Tilith? I don't know. Probably a 9.9 maybe. Yeah, I know a lot of players that have played Brave Frontier are gonna like this for the music. I understand that. I don't really know the songs, but I think they're adding a song to the next arc as well. 1 and part 2. So there's going to be another one in there. People are going to want to pull the arc just to hear the music, I think. Yeah, well, here's what I'm going to do, right? I'm not going to go around throwing tier list ratings, right? Because she needs more testing to see how exactly she's going to fit in PvE content in comparison to a Spirit Maiden Sarah. Now, if it turns out that Tilith is better than Spirit Maiden Sarah in every single PvE content stage ever, then Tilith is going to rate higher than Spirit Maiden Sarah, and then Sarah will drop down. I highly doubt that to be the case, because it doesn't speak to me to that being the case, but we'll see what happens in the next week. I mean, yeah, I don't know the whole story behind Brave Frontier, what they did with the games or anything. All I know is it was a very old game that shut down. I don't know much about it. I know they've tried to make, like, Brave Frontier 2 and different games that never worked out either. I bet you Arc is the next best dual wield damage dealer. Because he uses 2 swords. Yeah, if you have Sarah already, Tilith is still going to be useful. Not as useful, but she would still be probably worth pulling for. I would say definitely worth having. But I don't know if she's worth pity yet. Yeah, they want the original game. The thing is, nostalgia can only go so far, right? If you bring back a super old game, people are going to be, some people, today's standards are a lot different than what they used to be. This is what I think, but I don't know. Some people like the OG games. I'm one of those too. I like the OG, the older pixel art type feeling games. Like, yeah, the pixels. I really like the pixel art style in this game, and I am a fan of pixel art games in general. That's cool. I think I should probably finish up this stream in a moment. Pretty much done everything I wanted to for today. Here's the next Battlegraph Simulator boss, by the way. Poggle Eater is going to be releasing very soon. I don't think it's out yet, but that's going to come out very soon. Looks like it's going to be weak to fire, which Shift Arc... If Shift Arc is the answer to this boss, Adis has to release a boss that you can't use Shift Arc against, because he just literally kills all of them. Like, crazy. Yeah. Well, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about today. Tilith, great unit, great arc as well. I wish I got into Brave Frontier. Honestly, I wish I gave it a proper chance. I just wasn't looking for a new game at that time, because I had my hands full with current games I was playing. Didn't really have time for another main game, so I didn't really give it a chance properly. And I wasn't a massive fan of the artwork either, because I always felt like the fact they don't have mouths and noses was way too weird to me at the time. I wasn't a fan of it. I thought it looked weird. I didn't really like it that much. But it is like a certain art style they have which is unique to them, which, yeah, I get that, but it was just a bit weird. And if it was one of those games that took a lot of time and had a lot of PvP, I wouldn't know. But if it was one of those, I don't like those. Yeah, well, here's the funny thing. No nose, no mouth right here, and then in this collab, they magically gave them noses and mouths. I was really wondering what they were going to do with this art. They could have just made them without a nose and mouth. That would be hilarious. But this makes more sense. It makes a lot more sense. But something I did notice is, if you look at the pixel art for units, do they have mouths and noses in the pixel art in Last Cloudia? You can't really notice them that properly, can you? Not really. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's not too bad. Fair enough. Well, I always despise heavily PvP focused only games. I hate those, because I don't want to be competitive. That's not fun. To me, I prefer more single player journeys, games, stuff, you know. Raids are fun though. Yeah, I wish I got into that. I wish I did. If they were to make a brand new Brave Frontier game, I would probably give it a chance. I would definitely check it out. But some people like it, some people don't. Well, there's like 58 people here right now, it's great. What other games do Gummy make? I don't know. Demo, I know Demo, I've heard of that. Never played that though. Right. War of the Visions. Aren't like most of their games just end of service right now? That's what it feels like. Or they're just older games that have gone. Yeah, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, I used to play that on and off many times. Many times. I came back for the Nier collab just for that specifically, and then I left afterwards and came back for anniversaries and got bored because the bosses and content were just too confusing to me, and the gameplay was not easy. Like, it was like all over the place. It was a mess. But yeah, maybe they can build up, make a new game. I don't know. No idea. If they're just like remakes of old games, I don't know. I'm not sure. I have no idea. Maybe I'd give it a chance, but I probably wouldn't commit to it. I've got a lot of crypto. Screw that. F that. No one likes that. That's the worst thing you can possibly do ever, is turn a thing into crypto. I've heard that many times happen. It's not... I think, actually, there was a game or something that released trailers and then tried to turn it into crypto. It's a terrible idea. No one's gonna do that. Yeah, it was like a robot cat. It was Candyland or something. It was I don't remember what it's called. It was like a horror thing that they turned into a crypto instead of a game, even though is dumb. Anyways, I think I'm done talking today. If you want to discuss anything, you can always join my Discord. That's the best place to talk about things. I've got a chat in the Discord that you can talk anything related to gacha games. You can use that chat for it. Everything else in the Discord is related to Last Cloudia. So that'd be the best place if you want to continue any chats there. Yeah, I think it was called Candyland. That's why that one turned into like a crypto scam. Because all cryptos are scams. You should never trust them. They're just trying to take your money and leave. It's my advice for today before I leave. Okay, I'll leave that there for today. Make sure to join my Discord if you want. I am gonna try to do some videos with my new mic setup. We'll see if that happens. I'm probably gonna have a break for the rest of today. Maybe make a video tomorrow if I'm up to it and not busy. Also, one thing before I go is Battlegraph Simulator progress. Almost done with the easiest boss ever, lads. This is the easiest Battlegraph Simulator boss by a mile. I'm gonna do a video on this boss when I've done it. I can easily just beat it right now, but I'm doing some other things at the moment. So I'm gonna do that and probably get a video on that soon, but at the moment it's focusing on collab stuff right now. So yeah, part 2 will be in a week. I'll do a live stream next week on Thursday, same time, same place, same me. Hopefully I haven't changed into a monster or something, or if I might turn into an alternate. Yeah, I will hopefully get Tilith in the next week, hopefully. Maybe I'll get tempted to do more pulls, but we'll see what happens. I'll add the timestamps in the next 15 minutes or so, and I'll see everyone next week. Hopefully I'll get around to doing some more videos very soon. And yeah, just thanks everyone for showing up, and make sure to join my Discord if you're interested, because that's going to be the best place to discuss things and everything. So I'll see you next week. Thanks for coming, and hopefully everyone has their good luck with this collab, because you're really going to need it this last 3 weeks, by the way. Don't use all of your crystals right now. Try to be patient. I know it's very difficult. Have patience. Don't have a patient. That's a different thing. But have patience. Okay, I'll leave that there. I'll see you next time, next week. Bye.